why anyone would want this person to represent Yeshua at a retrial is beyond me. But the biggest point to me is that you're right, Rob. I'm in complete agreement with what you were starting to say. There's no way that these rabbis are going to find him innocent, first of all. And the reason why is because if Alaro attempts to show from the apostolic scriptures of the New Testament that Yeshua is innocent, why would they accept that? The Talmud is a sacred book to the Jewish people, right? Handed down from the rabbis and sanctioned by the Almighty. We know that whether or not the Hebrew roots of the Messianics or even the Christians want to agree with the idea that the Talmud says that Yeshua was crucified on the night of on the eve of Passover, he was hung on a tree for performing sorcery, right? That's
and enticing Israel to sin or idolatry. Basically.
Yeah. So even if you don't believe that that's speaking about Yeshua of the Gospels, the Orthodox traditionally do believe that is speaking of Yeshua.
Right. So
of the
basically,
Gospels.
if imagine this, Aloro's going to go. What other sources? What are his what are his witnesses? Unless he's going to go to the text of the Gospels themselves. And then are they going to say, okay, yeah, we're going to accept the ruling of the Gospels, and we're going to undermine our own Talmudic tradition and rabbinic tradition that paints Yeshua as an enticer to idolatry, as a sorcerer?
Well, look, and you're absolutely.
I mean, that's a big issue. Not only that, the Talmud itself, in order a legitimate Sanhedrin, they have to be fluent in the languages of the world. So not only that, now you enter in this debate. If they're going to have it proper, they have to have someone who is fluent in Koine Greek and understands the text traditions of the witnesses that they're going to bring to qualify as evidence before the court. And they're going to have to, and it can't just be one person. So they need multiple people who are fluent in Koine Greek who can testify to what the Gospels are. If they take a different angle, say it was originally written in Hebrew, now they're in speculation land, and that's not admissible to a court of law. Speculation. You need hard evidence. Not only that, if you accept the Gospel of Matthew, it's the Kohen Gadol says to him, this is Matthew 26, I adjure you by the living God, tell us whether you are the Messiah, Son of God. Yeshua said to him, you have said it yourself. Nevertheless, I tell you, hereafter you will see, and he quotes Daniel 7, the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power, coming on the clouds of heaven. The Kohen Gadol tore his robe and said, he has blasphemed. What further witnesses do we need? And that's when they condemn him to death. Okay, so you're going to say the Kohen Gadol, I mean, it undermines so many things. Here's another problem, is that Aloro draws on the Mishnah in his gematria. Like, it's not, gematria for Aloro is not just for the Tanakh. He uses gematria for understanding
everything,
finding codes in the Mishnah. So when he starts now imposing Mishnaic law anachronistically, because I mean, you look in Sanhedrin, but I mean, even the top Jewish legal experts today are not in agreement on to the degree that Masechet Sanhedrin, which is the Mishnaic law of setting up court, particularly to capital cases, death penalty, that it doesn't apply to the first century because it was developed later, when after the temple was destroyed. So, what is your the very idea that Orthodox rabbis are going to have a retrial of Yeshua will expose, it'll be a farce, because it'll expose a bunch of false assumptions that the laws of the Mishnah, the laws that undergird rabbinic authority as conceived today, somehow apply to the first century trial of Yeshua. There's anachronism right there. The use of gematria is absolutely crazy, and Aloro trying to paint Esau as Christianity and Jacob as Jews, and somehow he needs to reunite. It's false eschatology. So his whole premise is false eschatology, gematria, anachronism.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: the Gospels. Any Jew for the last 2,000 years can have access to the Gospels. That's why Yeshua is faithful and preserves his word in the world, so that all mankind can come and read and be convicted by the Holy Spirit of the truth of the Gospels. They don't need some court to. They're not going to be able to decide anything. It's whatever they decide.
I agree with you. The other thing that I'd point out is that throughout history, and especially now within the past, even 20, 30 years, we've seen a rise in anti-missionaries, and the anti-missionaries are very, very good at trying to convince people that the Gospels and the New Testament in general is not historically accurate. So the idea that all of this...
Right. Before they can even... In other words, here's the thing.
What's their source text?
Exactly. The court has to evaluate what it's going to accept as evidence.
Yeah.
And what it won't accept. Right? That's the first thing. Well, plus they have to say, now she alluded that the guilty verdict of blasphemy is the specific charge that Alora wants to take away. And it from what I know, my limited knowledge of listening to Alora and what this gal just says, is that basically what you said, Caleb, that, when he said he was the Son of God, he just meant like all Jews are the Son of God.